We start with that bombshell report that says the U.S. Supreme Court is poised to take action on Roe v. Wade, which could make abortion illegal in the United States. Politico released what it says is a draft opinion showing the conservative-leaning majority plans to strike down Roe v. Wade. That decision in 1973 legalized abortion. Overturning it wouldn't make it illegal. I shouldn't have said it that way. It would send this to the states, and some states would ban abortion. The draft is in response to a case about Mississippi's law, which bans most abortions after 15 weeks. Hundreds of supporters and opponents of abortion rights clashing outside the Supreme Court overnight. Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar was a guest on CBS Mornings.
First of all, I think we need to once again bring the Women's Health Protection Act up for a vote. That would guarantee that Roe v. Wade would be the law of the land. And as I've said, our Republican colleagues have very sadly, for the women of America, been blocking that from coming up to a vote. But I believe we need to immediately call it up for a vote again. It has passed in the House of Representatives, and it's time in the Senate to call it up for a vote.
So the court's opinion is not official until it is published, and it's unclear if the Politico version is the final one. That Supreme Court ruling is expected by July. Within the last few minutes, we did receive a statement from President Joe Biden saying in part, "I believe that a woman's right to choose is fundamental. Roe has been the law of the land for almost 50 years, and basic fairness and the stability of our law demand that it not be overturned."
WCCO legal analyst Joe Tamburino joins us now live. Joe, first of all, your reaction to this draft, at least this purported draft opinion.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on. I'm very surprised, but on the other hand, as the old legal saying goes, a case is precedent until it's not. The Supreme Court could do what it wants with its prior decisions. There is no law that says it must follow what it has done in the past. Most of the time it has, but they can always change.
Joe, we know in the past there have been leaks before of information, but nothing on this level. Some people calling it unprecedented here. But also there have been sort of campaigns to get justices to change their minds. We've seen it happen back when Justice Anthony Kennedy back in 1992 changed his decision at the last minute in a Roe case there as well. I'm wondering what your take is on that. Is the idea of leaking this information a way to get the justices to think twice about it?
It very well could be. This is the first time it's ever happened where something like this has been leaked. But even if one justice changes their minds, I mean, this could very well pass because they have a clear majority on the conservative side of 5 justices. So even if, or 6 justices, even if they lose one, they still have 5. And what's striking about this, if it does pass, is in recent memory, this would be the first time that the U.S. Supreme Court would be restricting rights. Usually when it has reversed precedent or enlarged the law with different interpretations, it has expanded individual rights. But this one, if it passes, would restrict them.
Does this change, if this decision comes to bear, the way that Americans look at the court? I know we've seen justices speak over the last decade or so about concerns that people view the court as more political than the court would view itself anyway.
Yes, it would. It would give quite the impression that the Supreme Court is very political, and that's been going that way since Bush v. Gore. It would also cause great concern as to what other precedents would be on the chopping block. I mean, go back to Board of Education in 1954, which outlawed Plessy v. Ferguson, separate but equal. How about Loving versus Virginia, that allowed interracial marriage? Lawrence versus Texas, which struck down anti-sodomy laws so people could have greater sexual freedom. Or even back in 2015, the Hodges decision, which allowed same-sex marriages. So what other precedents would be at issue?
Joe, let's talk about here in Minnesota and the effects that might happen, because back in 1995, the Minnesota Supreme Court really made it so abortion was a constitutional right here in this state.
That's correct. Minnesota would not be one of the states, I would think, that would outlaw abortion. However, all of our neighbors likely would. In fact, it seems to be about 26 states would outlaw abortion. And the only states in the Midwest that would seem to keep it legal would be Minnesota and Illinois. Everyone else, all of our neighbors, would likely outlaw it.
So chances are you'd see more people coming into Minnesota or Illinois.
Absolutely, that would happen. There's really only two areas of the United States where likely abortion would be legal. That's the Northeast and the West Coast. But literally in the Midwest, it probably would just be Minnesota and Illinois. And you're quite right. People would obviously flock here for the services.
Joe Tamburino, our legal analyst. Joe, thank you for your insight today. Stay with WCCO and CBS News Minnesota for continuing coverage of the Supreme Court's next moves on Roe v. Wade.